Staff Sergeant Khalila Fotiades was an armory technician. Her entire existence was defined by metal racks and fluorescent light. She worked at Camp Lejeune, a quiet base in North Carolina. Her job was simple. It was methodical. Every morning she logged the inventory, she checked the serial numbers, she polished the equipment, she cleaned the M4s, she stripped down the M16. It was the same routine every single day. A life built on repetition. It was utterly predictable. The other Marines saw her, but they did not see her. They saw a quiet woman. They saw a technician in the background. She was unimportant. They made jokes and moved quickly. They called her a ghost. She was just a machine, a detail checker, a weapons custodian. They completely underestimated her. They did not notice the precision in her hands. They never saw the stillness in her eyes. But one afternoon, the routine was broken. Colonel Marcus Jellerson walked into the armory. He was a 51-year-old Marine. He had a reputation. The colonel was a former scout sniper instructor. He had 25 years of field experience. He watched Khalila at her bench. She was inspecting an M40A5 sniper rifle. Her face was calm. Her focus was absolute. She adjusted the scope's parallax. Her fingers moved automatically. They turned the windage knob, then the elevation turret. Click, click, click. The movement was too precise. The speed was unnatural. It was not the movement of a maintenance technician. Khalila's eyes were locked on an imaginary target. Her lips did not move, but the colonel saw the calculations. He saw the mathematics processing in her mind. 800 meters, 10 miles per hour, crosswind, elevation adjustment, distance compensation. He saw the formula being solved instantly. It was a skill he recognized immediately, a skill that was taught in only one place. The colonel froze completely. He understood the hidden truth. This quiet woman was a ghost. But she was a deadly ghost. He realized she was hiding a classified secret. A secret that went back 3 years. It happened in the dust of Afghanistan. What was that secret? And why was she hiding it in a quiet, forgotten armory? This is the story of Staff Sergeant Khalila Fotiades. It is a story of a hero hiding in plain sight. A woman carrying a classified past. She spent 3 years trying to disappear. Khalila carried a dark shadow. A massive enemy bounty was still active on her head. The story began 3 years ago. It happened in Afghanistan's Helmand province. The operation was called Silent Ridge. Khalila's unit was suddenly compromised. They were pinned down. They were under heavy fire. An immediate extraction was ordered. Attack helicopters were inbound, but the enemy was too close. The line was collapsing fast. The unit could not fully pull out. Not safely. Someone had to stay behind. They had to slow the enemy advance. It had to be a distraction. It had to be a delaying action, a voluntary suicide mission. Khalila volunteered without hesitation. The commanding officer knew her skill. He knew her nerve. He gave the impossible order. Hold the line for 72 hours. That was the time they needed. 3 days, 3 nights, alone on a rocky, exposed mountain position. She had no spotter, no support. She had 2 water bottles, 1 mister packet, and her M40A5 sniper rifle. She watched her unit pull away. The silence after they left was deafening. It was a heavy, suffocating weight. She was truly alone. She settled into the stone. She became one with the ridge. She became the silent protector of their escape. This was not a battlefield. It was a pressure cooker. The mission was not to win. The mission was to endure. Her records were immediately classified. Her military occupational specialty was changed. She was legally erased. The Marine Corps made her invisible. They did it to protect her. They knew the enemy would hunt her. The first dawn broke over the ridge. The dust was thick and red. Khalila was already awake. She had not slept at all. She was locked in position. Her eye was pressed to the scope. She could see them moving below. They were advancing in convoys. The enemy did not expect resistance. They thought the ridge was clear. They were moving quickly. Khalila remembered the hours of grueling training. Scout Sniper School is brutal. It has an 8-week curriculum. Only 30% of candidates graduate. The instructors hammered one lesson. It was a simple lesson. Mathematics saves lives. Survival depended on calculation, not on luck, not on rage. She had to manage every variable perfectly: wind speed, the air density, the Coriolis effect, the target speed. Her mind became a ballistic computer. She processed the numbers. She solved the trajectory equation, all mentally, all automatically. Her fingers translated the solution. Click, click, click. Her first shot was clean. It stopped the lead vehicle instantly. The convoy stalled. Chaos erupted below. She fired again and again. She targeted the high-value assets. Her goal was to delay, not to destroy everything. She forced the enemy to slow. She forced them into cover. The first day ended in silence. But the night brought a different kind of terror. The cold seeped into her bones. She fought the urge to sleep. Sleep meant death. Her mind needed a distraction. She found it in her work. She began calculating again. She calculated everything around her. The distance to the next ridgeline. The angle of the sun at the next hour. She calculated the velocity of the smallest dust motes. She calculated the drop on a rifle that she did not even have. The calculations kept her mind sharp. They were her lifeline. Day 2 brought more heat and more enemy convoys. They were slower this time. They were more cautious. They searched for her position. She had to adjust. She moved constantly, inch by inch. She used the tiny shadows for cover. She conserved every precious bullet. Every single shot had to count. She was exhausted. Her body screamed for rest. Her eyelids were heavy. But she kept repeating the formula. She kept solving the math problem. The numbers were her anchor. The variables kept her focus rigid. She was a sniper. She was a mathematician. She was a survivalist. Day 3 arrived like a heavy blanket. She was nearly out of ammunition. She was running on pure will. Her lips were cracked. Her vision was blurred. But she saw the final convoy. It was the largest one yet. She knew the reinforcements were close. They were due at 72 hours exactly. She had to survive the final push. She took her final breath. She lined up the final, impossible shots. The explosions below were deafening. She spent her last rounds with absolute precision. She saw the dust cloud roll away. Then she heard the familiar roar. Her unit was back. She had done it. She had delayed the advance for exactly 72 hours. She dragged herself from the position. She was barely conscious. Her confirmed kill count was 43. She saved hundreds of lives, but she had sealed her own fate. She was too effective. The enemy was embarrassed. They wanted revenge. She was a target. She was a legend. She was ordered to vanish. The colonel ushered Khalila into a secure briefing room. It was classified level, just the two of them. The air was tense. The colonel looked at her file again. He saw the blacked out lines. He saw the changed MOS. He saw the lie that was meant to be her protection. Sergeant Fotiades, he said slowly, your file shows no scout sniper graduation. No infantry Mas Khalila stood tall. Her armory technician posture vanished completely. Her spine became steel. She finally looked like the warrior she was. Her hands were still. Her voice was flat. 72 hours, sir. Alone on that ridge. That was all she needed to say. It was the whole story. The colonel leaned back in his chair. He shook his head slowly. 43 confirmed combatants, he murmured. Alone. No spotter. No support. Khalila confirmed the number. Scout snipers are trained for independent operations, sir. The colonel paused. He asked the only question that mattered. Then why are you here? Why the armory duty? Why the deception? Khalila explained the danger. She detailed the extreme bounty. The enemy was tracking her skills. They were hunting her. She was reassigned to the quietest job. She was given a new identity. The armory was her safe house. Her cover was cleaning rifles. It was her protection from a violent world. The colonel closed the file with a snap, a loud, final sound. He looked Khalila in the eye. He delivered the most important news of her career. That bounty is gone, Sergeant. He revealed the final intelligence. The enemy leadership responsible for the hit was eliminated 6 months ago. She stared back in disbelief. 6 months. She had been hiding for 6 months, for no reason. The risk was gone. The colonel was stern. We have been wasting a scout sniper graduate. he said. We have been wasting her on simple rifle cleaning. He stood up. The colonel delivered her new orders. Effective immediately, Sergeant. You are reassigned. Khalila waited. She knew the answer. The colonel smiled slightly. You are going back to Quantico, he continued. You will be an instructor at Scout Sniper School. Her eyes widened with shock. It was a homecoming, but it was a complete surprise. Sir, she began. That's an order, Sergeant. He emphasized the rank. Those 72 hours on that ridge, that is what we need to teach the next generation. Real experience, real survival, real snipercraft. Khalila snapped to attention. Her body language changed completely. She was no longer the armory technician. She was the scout sniper. Yes, sir, she answered. One final question lingered in the air. The colonel had to ask it. Sergeant, those 72 hours, how did you stay awake? How did you keep your mind from shattering? Khalila's face softened slightly. She almost smiled. Mathematics, sir, she said simply. I kept calculating distance. I kept calculating trajectory. Every shot, every second. Scout Sniper School taught me that. Math saves lives. She was right. It had saved her life. It had saved 43 others. 2 weeks later, she was at Quantico. She stood before 20 young Marine candidates, her students. She addressed them with an intense gaze. I am Staff Sergeant Fotiades, she began. Combat veteran, Scout Sniper graduate. She told them the truth of her 3 lost years. I cleaned rifles for 3 years. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to. She looked across the eager faces. Today, I am back where I belong. She delivered the warning. Scout Sniper School will break you. 80% of you will fail this course. She explained the truth of the course. But those who pass will learn something more important than shooting. She leaned forward slightly. You will learn mathematics. You will learn wind calculation, distance compensation, ballistic trajectory. She finished her lecture with the final lesson. Because when you are alone on that ridge for 72 hours, without sleep, and 43 enemies are coming, math is what saves you. A young candidate raised his hand in the back row. Sergeant, 72 hours alone. How did you truly do it? Khalila picked up her rifle. She attached the scope perfectly. She looked back at the class. She had the answer ready. It was the only answer that mattered. Because Scout Snipers never quit. No matter how long, no matter how alone, we hold the line. Click the video on the screen now to see the full list of the Marine Corps' most legendary hidden heroes, or subscribe for more stories of endurance and classified missions.